part 2 of how to play the tenor saxophone. We're going to talk about how to open the case in this video. I know that sounds kind of silly, how to open a case, but it's important that we do it right so that the instrument stays safe and doesn't fall out. So let's just start right with that one. So here's this tenor saxophone case, and it's important we know which way is the top and which way is the bottom. This one is a zipper case. It makes it a little obvious. You have the pocket on the front and the label on the front. Most cases your label is going to be on the top part of the case. As you see on the back here, there's no label. That's obviously the back. So the back is the bottom. Okay. Another way you know is typically your handle on your case is going to be on the bottom half of the case. That's important. And then for a zipper case, you need to make sure that you unzip the zipper all the way to where it doesn't unzip anymore. Okay. If you don't, you could break the zipper real easy. So make sure you unzip it all the way. Then you just open it right up, and you'll see right away inside there that this saxophone is inside a molded section to make sure that it stays safe, to make sure that it doesn't get bumped around inside there. And as I move the case, it doesn't move. The case moves, but it doesn't move inside this case to make sure that it stays protected. And so that's really important that you put your instrument back away in the right spot, the right things. You'll also notice there's no book or anything on top of here. If you were to put something on here and then close the case and wrench it down, you could actually damage some of these keys or rods and make it so that it doesn't play anymore. So make sure you keep things off of it. There's lots of things in here. That's fine. Don't put anything on top of the instrument itself. Okay, so I have my case just sitting here on the side of my chair. It's too big to have up on my lap and to try and hold my instrument and my case at the same time. I'm going to drop something, and if that were to be the instrument, that'd be bad. So I just let it set down there. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to find a reed, okay? And my reed is right here. It's in a reed case. And you take that reed out and you just put it in your mouth, okay? Get both sides wet. And then you're going to leave it in your mouth while you do the rest of the next bit. Now for a while, for the first little practice, don't worry about the reed. We'll talk about how to put the reed on and that sort of thing and where it goes. For now, I'm just going to make sure my reed goes in its case. When you are going to actually play, you're going to want to have that reed in your mouth ready to go while you put everything together, getting nice and moist so it'll play correctly. But for now, we're just going to practice putting it together, swabbing it out, and putting it away, just so we have that skill. So the first thing you're going to do after the reed, if you're playing, is take your neck strap. There's lots of different types of neck straps, but nonetheless you need a neck strap, and you put that on. You really do need a neck strap to play the saxophone. It really helps. Now this particular one has a clip, so I'm going to, after I got my neck strap on, I'm going to get my tenor saxophone out, set it in my lap, and clip it right away. Okay. Now the reason why that's important is once my neck strap's on and I set it there and I clip it, now this thing's not going to fall off of my lap and go anywhere while I'm reaching to grab other things or do other stuff, and then it's going to be protected. Okay. You'll notice on the end here there's this little cap. You take that cap off and just put it in the case, and I always put it right where the saxophone actually goes, and the reason I do that is so that I don't forget to put it back on. That cap protects this little piece right here from getting bent, and because if that gets bent, then it won't operate the octave key correctly. So it's important you have that, always put that cap back on. The next thing you do is take the neck. This is the neck. You just slide that on there. Now some go on real easy and they're real loose. Sometimes they're a little sticky. You might need to put a little bit of cork grease on there, but sometimes they just go right on. Then you're going to grab your mouthpiece. Now most mouthpieces have some kind of a mouthpiece cover, so you just take that off, put it back in your case, and then you put that mouthpiece on your saxophone. And now if you have a newer saxophone, this cork and this mouthpiece may not go together real well. You just put it on there and just twist it a little bit and put it on there. Now this saxophone has been played a little bit, and so it slid on real easy. If yours doesn't go on, then you're going to want to take some cork grease. Looks kind of like chapstick, but it's not chapstick. Don't try it for that. And just put a little bit of cork grease on that cork. Now you don't need to do that every single time, just until your mouthpiece goes on. Like this one goes on nice and easy. I don't need to put any cork grease on it. So that's how that goes. Now I'm going to show you kind of how the reed works and how you get that going so that you're ready to play. Okay, so after you've had your reed in your mouth and it's had time to get a little moist, you take your mouthpiece, and on your mouthpiece you have this other part called the ligature. And what I do is I just slide that ligature up, not all the way off. Then I take the reed and I slide it in between the ligature and the mouthpiece. Okay, so just slide it in between there. And then notice this thumb is down here already, the one that I slid the ligature with. So that way the reed doesn't just fall through. That thumb will stop it. And then you just kind of put it on there. And you can pull this ligature back a little bit. Not all the way, it's still kind of loose. Okay, the next thing I do is line it up on the bottom of there's a flat section of the mouthpiece. And I make sure that this reed is lined up so that it's in the right spot. Then I use my thumb to hold it on the bottom. And I move it on the top until it's lined up this way. So it's on the mouthpiece this way in the right spot. Okay, and then you can use that ligature to help hold it on there. Then I'm going to look straight at the mouthpiece like this. I'll show you on the camera in a second once I line this up in the right spot what I mean. Okay, so I'm looking straight at it to make sure I get it lined up in the right spot. So it's far enough down or far enough up, depending on where it needs to be. Okay, so you look straight at it, or if I look sideways, you could see I'd look at it this way. Camera-wise, I'll show you, if you were looking at it, you'd want to look at it just like this. And you'll notice that just above the reed, you see a little sliver of black up here. Okay, and that's where you want the reed to be at. You don't want it to be higher. I'll show you what it looks like if it's higher. See, this would be not put on correctly. See how high it is? And when it's that high, it'll get shipped real super easy and it just won't play right. Okay? You also don't want it to be too low. Like this. This would be incorrect also. It's too low. See how much black mouthpiece you see above it? It's too much. It won't play right. So you get that reed lined up just right. So it's in the right spot. And then you put that ligature, you slide that ligature down. Slide that ligature down so that it goes past any of the cutout portion of the reed. You don't want your ligature way up here. It's designed to hold the reed on place. And then you just gently tighten those screws. You don't need to wrench it down, just so that it's snug. Okay? And that's going to hold that reed in place and get you prepared to play. So once you got that all set up, you're ready to sit up and show, and in our next video we'll talk about how to sit, how to hold the saxophone, where to put your fingers and all that sort of thing. For now, I just want you to practice putting it together, getting everything in the right spot, and then we're going to put it back away. And so the way we do that is just in reverse order. You take the reed, loosen the screws, not a ton. You don't want to loosen them a ton because you want them kind of in the right spot for the next time. Okay, so you loosen them up just so that that's loose. Pull this reed off. Be careful with it so it doesn't break. And always, always put the reed back in a reed case. We'll talk more about reeds and reed cases, I think in the next video is when we talk about that. So always put it back in a reed case. Never leave it on the mouthpiece. If you leave it on the mouthpiece, it can mold and get gross and can make you sick, and it's no good. So don't do that. Then you take off the mouthpiece after you put the reed away, and make sure you put it back in its mouthpiece case. That also allows it to dry correctly. Put that away. Then loosen up this neck screw, and then take it off and put it where it goes in the case correctly. Now, some of you may have kind of a little brush like this, and this side here just kind of absorbs some water, and you're welcome to just kind of quickly run that through your neck just to make sure that it's drying it out in between. And it doesn't take long, just really quick, and then put it away in the right place in the case. And then you're going to take a swab If you don't have a swab, you're going to want to get one. You can get like a saxophone care kit at the music store or online. And you're going to take the swab. You take the little weighted end of that string and you just set it in the bell. Really easy. Okay. Now I'm going to set this whole thing. Make sure that this is nice and fluffed out so that it doesn't get stuck in your saxophone case. Make sure it's not crumpled up. And you just put that in the bell. And then you just turn this. So the weight's down here, right? So I want it to come down this way. So I just turn it this way and let it fall down the saxophone until it comes out the end. Okay? And then you just gently pull that swab through your saxophone, okay, to make sure that the inside is nice and dry. And you do that after you're done playing. Swab it out. Set this on the top of the case or on your stand or something. Unclip your neck strap. Put the plug back in to protect this part up here. And set it in the case the correct way. Okay. Don't forget to take your neck strap off. A lot of students forget and they wear their neck strap to the next class. So put that away in its case where it goes. Take that swab, fold it up, put it back in the case, and then you close up your case and put it away where it goes in the band room. So practice that. Practice opening your case the correct way, putting your saxophone together with your neck strap, everything's ready to go. Practice putting your reed on in the right spot without chipping it, making sure you're taking care of it, and then practice putting it all back away. Do that 2, 3, 4 times so that you're good at getting it out and putting it away. You have to get ready for band. I mean, you're coming from another period, another class. You got to get into band, get your instrument ready to go so we can play, so we can use all the time we have in class instead of using it to get ready. We can use it to learn and to practice. And then at the end of the period, you got to put it away and get your next class on time. So you got to be able to do that in an efficient way so that you can be ready for your next class. So practice that 2 or 3 or 4 times so that you can be prepared for that. Join us for our next video in which we're going to learn more about the saxophone, the tenor saxophone, and how to play. And we'll see you on that one.